It comes to us from Nexus Hub. It says Microsoft hit with more layoffs, including gaming division. Great. What have you heard about this?
I only found out about this morning that Microsoft laid off even more.
Mhm.
Although I think this is more of like the sales and the more of the back end people rather than the devs. So I think it's like I could be wrong, but it's like cutting down more of like the business side, not really the game development side. So
Okay.
hopefully it's the last, but I don't know with people like Matt Hansen in the helm, they really need to clean house. And yeah, I'm not really there's no game I'm looking forward to with Microsoft, honestly. Avowed, we know Matt Hansen's stance on that. Fable, the female character looks ugly. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're axing more people in their studios, even though yeah, they literally just blew so much money acquiring them. I
Mhm.
think yeah, it's yeah, Microsoft is in it's they're the worst in when it comes to the big three, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. Like they really don't know what they want to do. It's like, do they want to be just developing games, or do they want do they still want to push Xbox? It's the messaging for them all the time is always unclear. That's why it's hard to get excited for Microsoft stuff. Although Game Pass is good value, I agree with that. But people like at most people will just subscribe if there's a new game that they want to play. Then they'll tune out again the next month, which is I don't think it's is what they want. Is I think they want people to keep subscribing so that eventually somewhere down the line they'll start becoming profitable. But as
Mhm.
of now, I think they're nowhere close to reaching that profitability. So I'm kind of skeptic with the future of Xbox as a whole.
Yeah, me too. Like, to be honest, like I don't think they're in the market of making consoles anymore. I think what they're doing is like, okay, we're gonna make this service and we're gonna make like we're gonna buy up a bunch of like video game studios and we're gonna use that to put that to sort of like upsell Game Pass. And so they want people to subscribe to Game Pass, and then you can do and then eventually going to put like some games on like Switch. There's already like a bunch of games on Switch already. They're putting some on PC and I think even some. I'm not sure if some on Sony, but like they're just
Y-
in the market of doing that. They're not even making it. They're all software, no hardware now, which is sort of sucks.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because I don't want Sony either to be left to their own devices. I mean, look already what they're doing with the PS5 Pro. Super
Mhm.
expensive, not really that much of a big difference anymore compared to the base model PS5. And yeah, because like I can see why they really want to, they're gunning for the subscription model. But for me, even up to now, I said this many times, I believe, like subscription services for movies and TV shows, I can see how it works, why people want to keep subscribing for that. But subscribing for games, it's I think like there's this pressure to people like, oh shoot, I gotta finish this game before my subscription ends, which is not a situation you want to be in my
Mhm.
opinion. Like example of like this big open world RPG, it'll take you like 3 months to finish. Are you really willing to pay 3 months worth of subscriptions just to finish the game, or you just gotta buy the game outright? Like you have that kind of dilemma. Unlike in a movie where after 2 hours, that's it. Okay, I think I got my money's worth for the month or something like that. You can't really do the same with video games, in my opinion. That is why I think consumers have a harder time finding the value in Game Pass. That's what I feel
Mhm.
compared to TV show, compared to Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime Video. That's why it's like you can't look at it one to one with subscription services of those compared to video games.
Yeah. All right, let's read this. Let's see. Microsoft has been hit with more layoffs across several divisions, including gaming. The company didn't provide the exact number of employees impacted in this round of terminations, though a Microsoft spokesperson reportedly claims that it will affect less than 1% of its workforce. And how many people do they have, right? So let's go down here. Back in it feels like every year Microsoft has like some kind of layoff.
Layoff,
It's like
yeah, exactly.
it's consistent, right? Because
Yeah,
like me being in the game industry, we're like, oh shit, like Microsoft, like Xbox has been hit, Microsoft has been hit, or something like that. But yeah, back in 2024, shortly after completing its nearly $70 billion of acquisitions of Activision Blizzard, Microsoft announced a round of layoffs that saw over 1,900 employees terminated. I have several of them that my friends were let go. I told you that one of my friends, he has never been to Philippines, and he went to the Philippines to meet his long lost brother. So I believe his mom and his dad separated at a very when he was very very young,
Okay.
and they he had a half brother, and his dad died. So I guess they needed to go back there to sort of like find his brother or something like that. And they found the brother, and and the mom sort of like took him in. And while he was
Oh,
on that vacation or that journey, he was informed via email that his project that he was working on was dissolved. And he was like, "What the fuck? I just got let go." It's like, it's cool that I have a brother now, but I lost my job.
the
What the
job.
hell? So yeah, it's fucked up. His name is Howie. If you guys are wondering, but yeah, I used to work with him at Disney Interactive. He's a cool dude. But yeah, let's see. 1,900 employees were terminated across various Xbox studios, including Bethesda and Activision Blizzard. The company would make more cuts in September. So yeah, so there was 2 cuts last year.
Yeah. I know there was a lot last year for Microsoft.
Man, see, Xbox currently has a slate of first-party titles scheduled to launch in 2025, including Avowed,
Yeah, that's coming out very soon.
Fable, and Outer Worlds 2. However, it's hard to imagine what employee morale must be like at the studios experiencing these cuts firsthand. Xbox continues to bank heavily on its Game Pass subscription service as being its key strategy going forward. Though we're starting to see cracks in the foundation, Xbox will reportedly no longer have any exclusives. Instead, all future releases will be apparently multi-platform, meaning it's likely we'll see more Xbox games to make their way to PlayStation and Nintendo consoles. We'll just have to wait to see if this pays off for the company or if Microsoft will make future cuts. At this stage, it's looking pretty grim. Man, do you remember when like Xbox 360 came out?
Yeah, that was
It
there was
was
actually
the system to get.
yeah. It's like there was a time like I actually thought like Xbox was doing better than PlayStation during that time period.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was crazy. There was this like console wars. And like I was there for the console war starting from Super Nintendo. Super
Mhm.
Nintendo versus the Genesis. Right?
Mhm.
Super Nintendo versus Genesis. Obviously, Super Nintendo won, but Genesis
Mhm.
had the better hardware, in my opinion. And they allowed blood and in Mortal Kombat, and it had some really cool games that were exclusive to what's it called again? Sega. But Nintendo obviously was the better console at the end. And then Nintendo versus Sony PlayStation. Right. And during this time, Sega Saturn basically sort of died because it was sort of
Yeah.
expensive and it was sort of underpowered. Right. And it was Nintendo 64 versus PlayStation. In the beginning, Nintendo 64 was really good because PlayStation didn't really have that many good games at launch. And then all of a sudden, you got like Tekken 3, like Tekken 1, 2, and 3, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9. Like,
Mhm.
what the hell? All these really, really good games came out, right? And then, like, Nintendo sort of like, you can tell because if you didn't know, Final Fantasy 7 was supposed to be on Nintendo 64, but it was limited because of the cartridge, right? They can't fit the entire game in a cartridge, so they went with Sony. So they had three discs, right?
Mhm.
And then ever since Sony, and then you got what's it called again? Dreamcast came out and destroyed everything. Like Dreamcast came out, destroyed everything, and then Sony came out with PS2, and then Xbox and GameCube. All of that came out around the same time.
Mhm.
During that time, I believe, in my opinion, like for me, during that time I was a Nintendo fanboy. I preferred the GameCube. GameCube was one of the best controllers in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Sony PlayStation 2 was the console.
Yeah.
And then Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Xbox 360 was so crazy because of Xbox Live. You got Halo, like Halo 3. You have all the crazy games. There's not one person that I knew that didn't want the Xbox 360.
Mhm.
It was so big. It was like it, and then of course you had like with PS3. PS3 was fucking expensive. It's like
Yeah.
$600. It's basically a $600 like Blu-ray, and that's probably the
For the
cheapest Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now hearing and what if you told me 20 years ago that Xbox is going to die and they're not going to make any more systems anymore, I would be like, shut your vagina. No fucking way.
Mhm.
No way. Right? It's just now they're going exclusively into just doing digital content like that. It sucks, man. Like, I'm not sure what the fuck Phil Spencer is doing over there.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild, dude. Like, I'm sad. It's because I never. My brother had an Xbox 360. Like, we played a lot of Marvel versus Capcom. We played Street Fighter 4. We played Call of Duty. We played a lot of games on that. We bought a cooler for it because it was overheating. He got the red ring of death and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I got
It
those
was
too.
it was
I
crazy. It
got
was
the
crazy times, man. He also bought another. He bought the black Xbox 360, and that one
Yeah.
was better. And then several years later, it's just like it was so good. It was nothing can beat it during that time, right?
Mhm.
Even though the Wii U was really really huge, Xbox 360 was the console. If you're a gamer, you got the Xbox 360, and it's very sad to see that Xbox is now just a subscription company.
Yeah. Like for me, it's
Man.
like I would want Microsoft to still make new consoles just so Sony has a competitor. Because like if they're already doing this with the PS5 Pro, what more if they're just on their own? I don't really consider Nintendo to be their competitor because Nintendo is their Nintendo. They're their own thing.
Yeah.
So imagine like what if they're Sony's buy themselves what $800 for the base PS6, and then they're gonna make a PS6 Pro for like $1,000 with a tiny graphical difference. Or even if you squint your eye, you can't see the difference anymore.
See, the thing is that we're as Asians, our eyes are always squinting. All right, and we see no difference. Okay. But yeah, man. It sucks. Like fans can look forward to the new Xbox Developer Direct show. Oh, that's next week.
Oh, okay.
January 23rd. All right.
Okay.
Xbox, you have one last chance to wow us. Like, Grae, do you regret getting your Xbox that you just got?
Kinda. To be honest, kinda. It's like, yeah. It's like at best, it's like I got it for like Game Pass. But then again, when I subscribe to Game Pass, like I apart from like not wanting to subscribe consistently, it's like I face the problem where there's so many games here. I don't know which one I want to play. Yeah,
Mm,
that's like kind of similar to like Netflix. Like when you open it, like if you have no idea what to watch, what am I gonna watch here? It's like there's so many. It's like you end up paralyzed at the end. Sometimes me more often than not, like I end up okay. Let me just close the app. I don't know what to watch. That's what happens to me.
mm.
And that's the thing with video games. If you're an avid gamer, it's highly unlikely in 2024. You probably have like a game or tens or maybe even hundreds of games that you haven't tapped into. So what's the point of subscribing? You have such a huge catalog of games that you bought and haven't even touched yet. That's the thing with video game subscriptions over, like I said earlier, Netflix and the like. So yeah, I am using the controller a lot though. I do think the controller is pretty good quality, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
about it.
it's the reason why the Xbox 360 controller has evolved into what it is today, which is the Xbox One controller, right? And if
Yeah.
you think about it, every third-party controller, even this one, it's reminiscent. This is more like a hybrid between this is the 8-bit Do one. This is the hybrid between. This looks like a Nintendo Pro controller. If you think about it, a Nintendo Pro controller looks like the Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Every controller that's come out, it has the same style,
Yeah.
right?
Even this
The
one for
joysticks on the top,
yeah,
joystick on the
games
bottom.
sir.
It's yeah.
Y-
See,
If game sir, this was like if you guys want a good cheap a very very cheap alternative to the Xbox controller, the game sir. Nova Lite, I believe. I
mm,
got this for like what, $15 and it's pretty good build. And it comes with the USB. So you just have USB adapter. So just plug it into your PC and it'll work just fine.
yeah. Man, I hope that somehow like they do something different, something groundbreaking. The reason why I think that Xbox needs to sort of come back and do something is because as of right now, Sony has no competition other than PC. But PC is like not even on the same level, not even on the same level
Yeah.
as the PlayStation. We need, in my opinion, I think console wars need to come back. The reason why is because competition breeds creativity. It breeds what's it called again? Like motives to sort of strive to become better. And it's also very good for the consumer.
Yeah.
It's very, very good for the consumer. When you make things exclusive, when you sort of don't want that's why Sony can dictate mostly everything what they're doing. It's like they were able to change what's it called again? That Stellar Blade stuff. They were able to change that kind of stuff is because they're unleashed right now, right? Nintendo cannot compete with Sony in terms of like, but Nintendo has their own ecosystem.
Yeah, like for me, it's like, for me, I'm sure it is for it applies to most other people with you and chat. It's like, oh, I want to switch, but that's not gonna like example. There's a PS6. I like just because I have a PS6, that's not gonna stop me from getting a Switch too. Because like for
Yeah,
me, Nintendo's really its own thing.
yeah, right. And like Xbox, it was like okay, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3. There's one for PlayStation and one for Xbox, right? There's always one of them. They're the one that's like in terms of specs, they're the closest to one another. Why would you get an Xbox? Why would you get a PS PS5 or something like that? It's there's no competition now. So it sucks. And I think it sort of started with PlayStation 4 versus Xbox. Was it Xbox One?
Yeah.
Right. The you cannot share disc anymore.
Yeah.
You cannot borrow games. You cannot borrow games from your friend. And then what did Sony do, Grae? What commercial did they come out with?
No, E3 was still alive, and it was still it was still pretty big. Like I think Microsoft came first about the Xbox One, then Sony came next. Like when the Jack Tretton, I believe he was still part of Sony at the time, when he presented where you can see you can borrow games, and it was that moment you knew Sony already won the generation, and the consoles weren't even out yet.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
It was like I think it was like, hey, can I borrow your game? Sure. That was it. That was the nail in the coffin for Xbox. Yeah, and the always online, exactly. The game sharing ad and Sony was the Xbox killer. Yep. Not to mention always online.
That's probably that's still, I think to date, that's still the loudest cheer I've ever heard in like a gaming convention. When Sony revealed that, oh, you can still borrow games, people were shouting, people were screaming really loud. You knew at that time Sony won the generation already, and the consoles weren't even out yet.
Yeah. Now the thing is that like I think Xbox One was the first like time I didn't buy like an Xbox product. I was like, nah, forget it. Like because it was between PS4 or the Xbox One, right? And like it was so big that even South Park made an episode about it. It's a console and they basically use Game of Thrones as like a reference, right? Like they use the Game of Thrones as a reference where they're like they, what's it called again? I think Randy basically worked at Best Buy. And the reason why he's doing it is because he wants to get like access to like the new games and stuff like that. And then you see like a bunch of like slow moving like walkers that are coming. They're supposed to be the White Walkers, and they're supposed to like they're banging the wall and they're trying to get into Xbox. It was crazy. Like and then at the end you got Bill Gates fighting the CEO of Sony. It was really funny, and it's like they're calling it the Black Friday, the Black Friday's bundle, PlayStation 4 bundle, right? It was massive. And then like ever since then, I feel like Xbox was not able to recover.
Yeah,
it was bad, man.
It's like that's the only generation I skipped for Xbox. Like I did the OG Xbox, the 360. I never bothered to get an Xbox One. Now I have the Series S. That's the only generation that I skipped because it was no value at all compared to the PS4.
Yeah. Yeah, in my opinion, I think in terms of console war, Super Nintendo won. And then I would say I would say Nintendo won, Nintendo 64 won in the beginning, and then like PlayStation 1 just completely destroyed it. PlayStation 2 basically destroyed everything. And then Xbox basically came out, Xbox 360 basically just won moving forward. Like it was Xbox 360 was like the winner. And during this time, like the Wii, like this is where they stopped like making games for the for Nintendo. Like I remember when I was testing Black Ops 1, I tested it for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, the Wii, and PC.
Mm-hmm.
It was unplayable on the Wii. It was so bad.
Yeah. The Wii is like it became popular just at the start because of Wii Sports and all the parents want to get in on
the
it.
old people was like, oh, I can play bowling. I can. Okay, granted, those are fun, right? Like bowling and boxing was really great.
But after like a month or two, the Wii just suddenly dropped. Everyone forgot about it already.
Yeah,
that's what happened to the Wii.
Yeah, Xbox 360 was the worst. The Red Ring of Death. If there wasn't the Red Ring of Death, Xbox 360 is like a perfect console. In my opinion, it had every game. It was strong enough.
To be fair, the slim models were stable already. I suffered twice. I suffered the Red Ring twice, even with the Jasper model, I believe. But then when the slim models came out, there wasn't any Red Ring anymore, or at least no red dots. Yeah. I think that's where right, 100% right. It's me and HD. PS3 was better for single player games, but 360 dominated online player. The online multiplayer was everywhere. Like, hey, you playing Call of Duty? Hey, you playing Halo? It's like those two games. Everyone was playing it, and people were. How did you play Street Fighter? A lot of people were playing Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 was being played. Call of Duty is being played. Like everything was online. It was just really, really insane, and it's just so sad that like Microsoft is going down this route. Let's like I said, let's see the Xbox Developer Direct Showcase next week. Hopefully they get something really cool. But in my opinion, in terms of console war, I think they're done. I don't think they're gonna come off any consoles anytime soon. What are your? I know there's also rumors speculating that Xbox and Phil Spencer wants also their own handheld. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say that could be possible.
Yeah,
right. You're on the go anyways, and I think handhelds are. Remember when we talked about it earlier about the Switch? Back in the day when the Switch came out, they had no competition. No competition whatsoever. But now you have a lot of competition, right? You have a lot of companies that are coming out with handhelds, Steam Deck, Asus ROG, and now the Switch 2. They have some competition. I can see them doing it. But the thing is that what's the difference between that and the Steam Deck? Because everything is on Steam.
Right? Yeah. I think Microsoft can bank on like mega optimizing Game Pass for their system. That's how I see it, how they can differentiate. But it's not really, we have the Steam Deck, and my biggest gripe with Steam Deck is like it's so huge and the battery life is meh. That's my biggest gripe with the Steam Deck. That's what's stopping me from getting a Steam Deck. It's really like I don't want to carry that big of a system, portable system, and the battery life is just 2 hours. I don't think it's worth it.
It's only 2 hours?
If it's like a high spec game. If it's like a low spec game, it's like 4 or 5, I think. So it's like, it's counterintuitive. Like you're bringing such a big hardware on the go, then you can only play it for that amount of time unless you find an outlet. That's why.
Oh man. Oh, we'll see. Let's see what they're gonna do. But yeah, it's not looking so good for Microsoft, man. And it's crazy. Microsoft was one of the companies that was bidding to buy the company I work at right now. When Disney was selling, like we got like Ubisoft, EA. Thank God those didn't go through. Microsoft was one of them too, which is crazy.
Thanks for checking out this segment of the Project Eggroll podcast. If you like what we do here, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will know next time when we go live. We do go live every Saturday at 8 p.m. Once again, we are just getting started. Tons of more video to come. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next time.